Welcome to Responder 5 call light training. When you are in patient rooms, if you are a nurse in the room, it's going to show up as a solid green line on the light outside the room. If you are a CNA, it's going to show up as an orange light outside the room. And if you are an ancillary staff member and you're in the room, it's going to show up as a pink or magenta color light outside the room. This blinking white light indicates that the patient call light is on. The blinking red light is the bathroom emergency and the patient requires immediate assistance. A solid green light indicates that there is a nurse currently in that room. A solid orange light means that there is a tech currently in that room. A blinking yellow call light indicates that the patient has either gotten out of bed or the chair alarm is going off and requires immediate assistance. When you go into the room, it's important to note that you have to turn off the alarm on the bed and the chair, and then also with the responder system. You will turn the alarm off on the bed, but the lights are still going off outside the room until you cancel it on the wall. The same is true for the chair alarm. If the chair alarm is going off, you do cancel it on the box on the wall, which will stop the Mary Had a Little Lamb sound from playing, but you also have to turn it off on the wall console here to make the yellow light stop outside the room. This is an example of a staff emergency. This is an example of a code blue. All right, so here's our Responder 5 console that's at all of the nurses' stations. So most of the units are going to have 4 of these. I think in ICU that there might be 2 of them. So again, when call lights ring, they're going to show up here. We can't answer from the nurses' station utilizing the phone here, which I'll show in a minute. But ideally, we want to go in our patient's room and answer those call lights in person so we can attend to those needs as quickly as possible. The clock face is what was on, obviously, when nothing was happening there. I will show you in a minute what it looks like when a light is going off and what that will look like when you answer it, but otherwise it's just showing the date and the time display right there. Ready. All right, so as you can see on the console, we have a few different room call lights going off right now. When we go ahead and pick this up, it's going to go to the more urgent call light, which is our go to toilet call light first, and it's going to have a little @ sign next to the room to let you know which room you're talking to when you pick up the phone. Hi, this is Laura. Can I help you? At this point, the patient in the room is going to be able to talk to you over the phone, and then you're going to let them know that you'll be right in. You'll hang up. You have the opportunity then at that time to answer this other call light, or if in this case you need to go urgently get that patient to the toilet, you can. We'll go ahead and hang up. We know there's not a patient actually in this room. This is Laura. I'll be right in. Again, showing that we're talking to that patient in that room. All right, so here we're going to try to say, hey, I want to order or answer a different call light here. Hi, can I help you? The basic functionality of this console, it's super easy to use. So here is the new call lights that we have for our patients here. They are separated out kind of nicely. At the very bottom's all the TV controls. In the middle is where they'll hit the number buttons for the TV. The very top is where all of their buttons are to get a hold of the nurse. So regular call light, water, pain, toilet, and the lights up there. All of the call lights are going to light up outside of the room white and be flashing and just make sort of a dinging sound at the nurse's station. So we've got that updated, so all of them will sound the same. Something important to note is when you plug this in to the wall jack, there is a red dot here that has to line up with this red line. Otherwise, it's going to say it's unplugged and it's going to beep. You can cancel the call light here on the back of the wall. Otherwise, your Responder 5 badge that you will be assigned by your leader will cancel the light when you walk in the room. If it is not canceling the light when you walk in the room, check with your charge nurse who's on duty or your leader that might mean that you are not on duty in the system for your shift. So we just need to troubleshoot that in the software. We'll get to that a little bit later in the training. All right, so with chair alarms, also to have them ring to our consoles when they go off, you have your chair pad plugged in, but you also have a cord going from your chair alarm on the wall over here to the port in the wall. Again, this is what sends it to responder 5. It goes in the chair port. You can cancel it right there on the wall. All right. Another important thing to note about the call light system is if we want to be able to hear our bed and chair alarms, they need to be plugged into the wall. They tie into the call light system. They will light up yellow outside of the room and alert on the phones and the consoles at the nurse's station. They need to be plugged into the wall here. There's usually an adapter piece, and this plugs into the bed. So these have to be plugged into the wall for it to get to the console for responder 5 to light up. All right, on this unit that's on the head wall behind the bed, there is a staff assist button and a code blue. You'll need to lift this little plastic piece up to push those buttons. So this will call all the staff on the unit saying that you need help. And this, of course, will call the code blue. This button cancels all of the call lights in the room, cancels the code blue as well. You do sometimes have to hit that button twice for the staff assist and code blue. One is to turn off the sound and one is to turn off of the light. All right, in the bathroom, we have a couple of new things in here. The patients still, of course, still have their pull cord that they can call for help. They also have this yellow button, which they can use for help if they just don't emergently need help to come out of the bathroom. Our patients should never be using these, though, because we should never be leaving them unattended in the bathroom here at Lakeside. These call lights have to be canceled in here. They're not going to shut off by you calling in from the nurse's station or by your badge coming in here. So you are going to have to use this button here. And over here in the shower, there's also a pull cord in the shower that's waterproof that will call for help as well. Again, you can cancel this one from here, or you can cancel on the other one in the bathroom. All right, so now we have consoles in all of our rooms with the call lights. It's going to always show this clock face when it's kind of off or in rest mode. Again, you have the call cancel button here. Anytime you can cancel the call light with that button. Again, if your badge hasn't shut it off, if you've come in the room. It's a touch screen, so you can touch it to turn it on, and you have a lot of options on here. Any of the buttons that have a plus sign on them will open up another menu for you. The rounding button is for the provider to push when they come in the room. This will send an alert to the assigned nurse's phone, letting them know that the provider's in the room, so you can go and meet them to do provider-nurse rounding. The round 1 hour and round 2 hour is for our hourly rounding best practice. 1 hour is obviously for days, 2 hours is for the nighttime. You can set that alert to go off. It will, again, send a reminder to your nursing phone to let you know it's time to go in and complete your hourly rounding or your every 2 hour rounding at nighttime. Pain assessment, when you tap that one, you can use this when you give a pain medication. So it can remind you to come and reassess the patient in 30 minutes or 1 hour, depending on the kind of pain medication you give. That way you don't forget to chart your pain reassessment follow-up after you've given a medication. Go back to the main menu there. You have your alerts button. This is where when you're kind of having an emergency situation in the room, you can call and get help without having to pick up your phone, dial a bunch of numbers. You can tap the staff assist button if you need to get extra staff into the room. You can call an RRT just by hitting this button. It's going to send pages and calls out appropriately. If you have a patient who falls, you can tap the post-fall huddle button, which is going to alert your house supervisor, therapy if they're here, your charge nurse, and other members of the care team on the unit to come to the room and complete that post-fall huddle. Your code blue button, you can use that button for code blues. There's also the code blue button, which you probably saw on the head wall. Obviously, you can use either button. This is more convenient if you have other people that join you in the room and they can't reach the one up at the head of the bed. The staff can utilize that button for the code blue as well. Stroke alert is going to call your ICU charge. Chest pain, again, is going to bring in your charge or your ICU charge as well. It's nice. We have these differentiated. That way, when the notification comes across to the ICU charge, they're prepared when they come and respond to your room for what's going on with your patient in the room. All right, if you're in the room with a patient and something's going on, you're unsure exactly, is this really a chest pain because they're having heaviness on their chest? Do I hit RRT or a chest pain? You can always go with the RRT. You're going to get the right members of the team here. It's not going to hurt if you hit both buttons because it's really going to send the same team here. So when in doubt, you can always do the RRT. If that patient is coding, like they're not breathing, they don't have a pulse, you're going to want to hit the code blue button. You can always hit your button on your badge, which I'll show you later in this video. That is your staff emergency button that will also alert every member on the unit to get into the room to help you, and then they can hit the appropriate button for you. All right, your RT button here, which I'm not going to tap on right now because it will actually call them, is going to put a page through and let them know that the patient for that room needs RT. It's going to display on their phone the room number that they need to come to. So that's going to put in the call for you, so you should not need to make a call to them. If you haven't heard from them in a little bit, it might be a good idea to give them a call. If there's anything urgent for that patient, it would be good to do a call just to make sure that you can give any pertinent patient information to the RT. The EVS button is, again, one that you can open up. So there are often times when you have soap that needs to be refilled or hand sanitizer or sharps that are full. So now instead of having to actually get out your phone and make that call, you can tap these buttons in here to let them know that you need those things for this room, and it will send a message to them and let them know, and they'll be able to come and handle that for you. Patient care clean, if you just need a clean done, you can tap that button. And if you need the room cleaned for discharge, you can tap that button as well. You don't usually need to do that because as soon as you discharge that patient from Epic, it marks the room as dirty. So you don't have to do both, but this is an option if you need to get the room cleaned and the patient is not returning to the room. This clean panel button is something that EVS will use. When they tap this panel, it puts it in clean panel mode so that they can actually wipe this down and not hit a bunch of buttons and break things on there. All right, dual RN check is a nice button if you need to call another RN in to do a dual sign off for medications. Maybe you need another RN to do a dual skin check. It's going to message all the other phones on duty on that particular unit and let them know that you need another RN in this room. Then the need staff button is going to be really valuable for ancillary staff. So if you are bringing a patient back to the room and you need help sliding them over to bed, you can tap patient back in room. It's going to alert the CNAs, RNs on duty that you have a patient back in the room and you need help in this room. It's all lift assist. Again, is going to message all the care staff on the unit. It's going to send that they need all lift assist to that particular room so they can come help. Also, you need an RN to the room. Maybe you're bringing a patient back from a procedure and you need to do some bedside shift report at that moment. It will page the RN assigned to this room so that you can do that handoff. All right, then we have our lab button here. This is valuable for lab. If they come up to draw labs on your patient and they are not available in the room and they can't draw the labs because they're not there, they're going to select patient not available. This is going to message the nurse caring for the patient that they can't get labs, so the nurse knows when the patient is back in the room and available, I need to let lab know so they can come up and draw those labs. When your patient is back available, all you need to do is tap this button, patient's in the room, which will then send a message to the lab to say the patient's back in the room so they know to come back up here and draw those labs for you. All right, this here is your Responder 5 badge. This is going to be assigned to you by your leader. This is what lets the system know if you're in the room and turns off the call light. I'm going to show you a little later how to make sure that you're on duty. Otherwise, it's not automatically going to turn off the call light. This button right here on your badge is also what you're going to hit if you find yourself in a situation where you need staff help, you can't reach any other buttons in the room. You're going to hit that button and it's going to send a staff emergency button out to everyone on the unit. They're going to be able to see on the console where you're at and come to your aid. All right, so setting up Responder 5 and making sure that your rooms are assigned is important. To also make sure that your badge can turn off call lights, and if you are working on the unit, any of your call lights ring to your assigned phone. So on all of the computers on the units, this Responder 5 client is the software that you need to get to. Here at Lakeside, you're going to choose Lakeside Responder 5 client. When you're prompted to log in, you are going to utilize your Epic login and password. When you first log in, and it doesn't work for me because I've logged in many times, it's going to prompt this My Profile page. What you are going to want to do, because it's going to look like this with your preferences, is really just default your preferred unit. So if you really only work on one unit, you're only going to have one of these selected. So if you're for West, you're just going to pick oncology, for example. If you're PCU, you're just going to pick PCU. I have multiple units, so that's why I have a lot of them picked. You're going to hit save when you're done, and then you're going to move on from there. From there, you're going to go to staff assignment with this little drop down caret. With your staff assignment, you're going to want to look for your name. So here is my name. You're also going to want to double check that your unit's correct. Again, if you have only one unit, it's probably going to be on the correct unit. But where I have multiple, I always need to make sure I'm in my correct unit. I'm going to find my name on here. I'm going to double click and I'm going to open that up. This right here is where you're going to enter your phone extension that you have for that shift, and this is to allow any of the lights from your room to go directly to your phone. It leaves that message and lets you know what room is calling directly to your phone. You do not use 402 and you do not use hyphens in here. So let's say I am carrying the 4 West Charge phone today. I'm going to enter that number right in there with no hyphens and no 402. Down here is where we call them call stops, the 1, 2, 3. Call stop 1 is the CNA, 2 is for the nurse assigned, and 3 is for the charge nurse. So these 3 lines here correlate with these 3 columns over here. As you use the system more, it will make a little bit more sense. Since I am the nurse, I'm going to worry about call stop 2, which means I'm going to worry about assigning myself to the middle column over here. With my box sort of highlighted that yellow color, I'm going to assign myself over here to room 4209, 4210, and 4211. I'm going to do that by just clicking that call stop with my box yellow, of course. Sometimes, oh my goodness, sometimes you have to double click. My box came unyellowed. You'll know it's assigned when your initials show up in that call stop. Too many times. There we go. So now I've gotten myself assigned to those 3 rooms as the nurse for that shift. I'm showing on duty with a green dot, which is super important. If I show up off duty, my Responder 5 badge will not work. I will not show up as going in the room, and it will not turn off call lights in the room. It's important to just leave yourself on duty all the time and just remove the phone number off of people when they leave for the shift. When you're all done assigning your rooms, you're going to go up here, click accept. In this case, I'm not going to take the device over for Sam because she's actually here. I would do this if Sam were leaving for the shift and I was taking over. And that's all you have to do.